We saved Princess Zelda. That was the whole thing. Find Princess Zelda complete. That was our first quest. It's the last one we completed. That's a good game right there. That is good storytelling from start to finish. You know what I mean? You have your MacGuffin is the main plot of the movie, right? You're always proceeding towards the accomplishment of that very first quest that you got, but it's everything in between that actually tells the story. Beautiful, beautiful. I love it. I absolutely love this game. I'm probably, you know, I don't know if it tells you on Nintendo, but I've probably put 100 hours into this game. I played this game an absolute ton, and I know. We only had the 12 streams or whatever it was. We played for several hours. I mean, I put a lot into this game because it was just super fun to play. Like you would play for, I mean, you could play for like 3-4 hours and it would feel like 10 minutes, you know? And then there'd be times when like you would just kind of want to go explore. Now there was that in Breath of the Wild, but like it seemed like a tedious part of the game here, but adding the depths and then adding the sky islands, like exploration in this game did not feel like an expedition, you know, like it felt like a natural course of the game, and it was so much more balanced in terms of like storytelling and open worldness and having to find out. There were several times I had no idea where I was going. I was just kind of walking around hoping to stumble into something, and that was part of the fun. That was part of what made me feel like I wanted to keep playing this game. And I mean, it looks phenomenal. The gameplay is tighter, neater, cleaner than Breath of the Wild. Very similar in its take. You know, you still have the weapons, they break, but you can fuse stuff to it now. So you actually later in the game, you know, when we fused that one piece, unfortunately it broke off like as soon as we used it the 1 or 2 times. But like you can make crappy weapons stronger with the fuse ability. I kind of wish they would have added maybe making your own weapons type of thing, making it like a Yiga schematic, or like a Zonite schematic or something. But I mean, that didn't take away from the fun at all. I thought the temples were great. You know, they were open world temples, and what I mean by that is like, yeah, there was the pyramid, right? That you were actually inside the pyramid. Well, other than that, you had the ship in the sky, and you're like completely outdoors most of it. There's a couple of times when you have to go into the ship, but it's seamless with the outside world for the most part. You have the addition, and I know I said this before, but you have the addition of building the constructs and whatnot, designing things that allow you to fly farther and get to different areas, go up high. You know, you have like the little balloons that'll take you up in the air. Like, this was just really thought out and very, very fun. And my son is agreeing with me 100%. The sages were cool to see make a comeback. You know, we have a couple of them from the previous game. Rudo off the top of my head, and shoot, I wish I could think of the fish's name, but I can't off the top of my head. But you got throwbacks from the first one. It's a great continuation of the story, and for the first time, like I was saying, because you have this previous story already, it allows the lore of this game to delve deeper into itself and become a sustainable story. One of my, and I don't want to call it a pet peeve, because it's not like Link to the Past or Ocarina of Time or Majora's Mask or Twilight Princess or Skyward Sword, Link's Awakening. I mean, I could go on. Like Legend of Zelda has had great self-contained stories, but this one allowed you to delve into it and create characters that that age over time, because you had the first and the second game, and to a certain extent you've got the prequel with Warriors of Calamity, which I haven't played. I feel terrible. I should absolutely play that game, but my brother's got it and my brother's for somehow got it in my head of mine that I'm not going to like that game. But it's a Zelda game. Like, I've never not liked a Zelda game. Getting off track, but the world is beautiful. If you know the map from Breath of the Wild, you will absolutely know the map in Tears of the Kingdom. But it's slightly different because things have been lifted up into the air. The world has kind of been destroyed a little bit, a little ruined. So now you have these holes in the middle of area, and the whole depths is like it's like a whole nother game down there. It's so massive on a scale that, like, I mean, I would expect this from a next generation game, you know, like a PlayStation 5 or an Xbox Series X, but this is the Nintendo Switch. There's a reason it's probably going to break the PS2's record of highest selling console of all time, because they keep coming out with stuff that you could put on the Xbox and PlayStation and not know the difference. You know, I mean, obviously, I know there's, you know, the cartoonish look of this. But, I mean, you can't tell me you look at this and you look at a game like Remnant and not see a similarity, you know? Like, you've got you've got more cartoon with this. But this, in terms of graphics-wise, this looks as good as an animated movie on Netflix or from Warner Brothers or Marvel. Like, this looks phenomenal. And you're on the Nintendo Switch, which has been out longer than the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X. They did such a good job on this game. Like, I don't even know if I can wrap around my head how they put this game together. Like, I know it was a bunch of years in between, but, I mean, this was so good. Like, so pristine, and like... There wasn't like a dull moment to it at all for a game that you could easily sink 100 hours into. And I mean, I haven't even scratched the surface. Like, I haven't completed all the temples. Fortunately, I was able to max out my Zonite batteries and open up all the depths lights. But I mean, there's also like sage crystals or something that you can get to enhance your powers with the sages. There's 16 of them out there. I've only found 2. You know, there's like 4 or 5 different outfits that I haven't found yet, complete sets that I haven't found yet. I haven't even began to scratch the surface on upgrading all of my material. And I mean, it's just kind of mind-boggling how they were able to fit so much into it. Because the story itself is a full-fledged game. If you were to just sit down and play the story, it would easily be 30, 40 hours. Easy. And that's a full-fledged game, in my opinion. You know, 30, 40 hours is a good, respectable main story. And then you have all the other side stuff. Like, it's just a really, really good game. The voice acting was good enough. You know, it's not as good as, say, like Final Fantasy 16 is probably the best I've ever seen. But, you know, for what it is, to have the voice acting in a Zelda game for the first time that I can think of, this was awesome. This was absolutely awesome. And I feel bad because the last game I reviewed, Jedi Survivor, I said I would not, that would be my pick for Game of the Year, but I can't not give it to this one. You know, Breath of the Wild won. Sure, we could talk about that, but this game was exponentially better than Breath of the Wild. Like, it is absolutely crazy to me that it is the same system that put out both of these games, because this was so good. This was so good, and I can't believe that I'm actually as surprised about it as I was, because I love Zelda. Zelda's probably the greatest franchise of all time. Not in terms of like monetary. I would venture to say probably Mario or Sonic or something is probably better than, you know, bigger than Zelda. But in terms of like quality of franchise, this is, I don't think there is anything better than that. I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan, you know, but Square, I think, would have to give it to Nintendo. This is such a fantastic franchise, and so every time a game comes out, and granted, it's only every 4 or 5, maybe 6 years or whatever, but every time a game like this comes out, there's always the biggest hype in the world behind it, and it always comes out better than even the biggest hype could get it. It's absolutely incredible. I'm almost assuredly this is going to win Game of the Year. It's better than Jedi Survivor, which I absolutely loved. It's better than the Resident Evil 4 remake. It's better than Final Fantasy 16. Now, I haven't finished 16 yet. You know, maybe the ending comes out, but I don't see how it's possible, because this game was, I mean, you could sink hours into it and not realize you've sunk those hours into it, like Minecraft. But you're playing a Zelda game, and it feels like a Zelda game, but there's all this new stuff that you can do on it. It's I don't know what else to say. It's gonna win Game of the Year, guaranteed. I'm saying it now. This is gonna win Game of the Year. There's gonna be a lot of them that deservedly get nominated. Jedi Survivor is gonna be nominated. Final Fantasy 16 is gonna be nominated. Spider-Man 2, maybe even Starfield. Even though I'm not sold on Starfield yet. I've talked about this many times. But there's no way either of them beat this game. There's no way. There's no way. This might be the greatest game I've ever played. This might be the greatest game I've ever played, and it's 100%. It is. I'm telling you now, it's a guarantee. This is going to win Game of the Year, and rightfully so, and rightfully so. Two huge thumbs up. If you have a Nintendo Switch and you haven't bought this game yet, you're a bad Nintendo Switch fan. This is easily the best game on the Nintendo Switch. Easily the best game that's out there right now. Quite possibly the greatest game I've ever played in my life. This has been absolutely phenomenal. My son, I don't know if he's over here, he's begging me to pay attention to him. But I had to get that off my chest because... oh, man. This might be the greatest game I've ever played. This has been astounding.